No, not much. I don't have my box water this time, so I won't get in trouble. Yeah. How's everybody doing? Good? Good, good. Yeah, so first off, obviously not the season that we really wanted in terms of the record. However, I do feel like, we're making a lot of progress. Things are trending in a really good direction. I feel like the culture's changing here. Guys are starting to feel what it's like to win. We only have 5 wins, but, it feels like the momentum's kind of building. I think guys are feeling good about the direction that the team's going. Want to thank the coaches and the staff for, all their hard work and dedication throughout the season. It's a super long season, and these guys, they're here long hours. They work their butts off. So Coach Canales and his staff, they've done a great job just with our players, developing them and kind of creating the culture that we want here. I'd like to thank my scouts too, for doing a great job during the season. Again, a lot of hard work, dedication that we all go through. Put in a ton of work and preparation, throughout the season on the draft, free agency. And, we're grinding and, we're trying to make this team the best that we can. And we're excited about the future. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
You had no expectations going into the season. So what did you fulfill out of your no expectations of this season?
Yeah, I think obviously Coach Canales, he did a really good job with this team. I think you saw guys get better on the offensive side of the ball. Dave and his staff have done a really good job with Bryce, with young wideouts out there, just kind of developing these guys, growing these guys. So, again, I feel like we're headed in a really good direction that we're all really excited about right now. And, we got some young guys on defense that we're excited about too. So, guys are going to continue to develop, get better. A lot of these guys gained a lot of experience this year. So, I think that'll be valuable really going forward and, kind of going where we want to go and building this thing the way that we want to build it. We're going to have really good depth. So, those guys got a lot of playing time this year. Kind of went through some growing pains with, some of these young guys. But, again, in the future, I think, it's going to allow for us to have some depth and guys with playing experience.
You mentioned pieces on defense. Canales said that you're retaining Evero despite the season. What were your conversations with him heading into today about that and why y'all came to that decision?
Yeah, I love EJ. I love his defense. I think it's a really good scheme. But again, I have to do my part as well. Me and my staff have put in really good players on the field and adding really good pieces to the defense. And, again, the young guys are developing on the defensive side of the ball. There's some young guys that, we're excited about there. And just some cornerstone guys that we have on defense too that we're excited to get back with Derek Brown and JC. But Evero's scheme's really good. We're excited to have him back. And again, we just got to add pieces, keep developing the players that we do have. And, I think, things can turn around. We just have to put the work in. And we're going to do that. No, you're good.
One of the words we heard a lot today was stability. Even out of the locker room, having stability at head coach, at GM, at quarterback. Your offseason outlook, how does that change having that this time around?
Yeah, I think, obviously, having an offseason to where you're not really doing the interview process or having to interview a head coach, what I had to do last year, I'm able to really dig in on free agency and the draft and the roster building part, of the team. So, I'm excited to go to the East-West game, the Senior Bowl, the Combine, and just kind of really dig in and, try to make the Carolina Panthers the best team that we can make them. So it's going to be really exciting to have a full offseason and a clear mind and just be ready to roll.
Dan, what's your evaluation of this rookie class, your first rookie class? Not just the draft picks, but the kind of the featured undrafted guys?
Yeah, I think the guys, some of them went on IR, but I think they were making strides. You go from Xavier in the first round to Trevin to Shaw Smith-Wade, Jatavian Sanders. I feel like these guys have got better and better. They continue to grow and work throughout the season. I think they had a solid rookie season. I think there's a lot of good things to build on. They're going to put the work in, and I know they're excited about that. I talked to all those guys today, along with the rest of the roster. So I'm excited about the rookie class, and it's young. They're hungry, and they're looking to get better and grow and get better.
One of the guys you didn't mention was Brooks in that class.
Right.
What was your reaction, and where do things stand with it?
Yeah, obviously we're really excited about Jonathan. It's unfortunate that he re-injured his knee. Feel awful for him. He put a ton of work in to get back to where he was ready to play in games and really contribute and help us moving forward. But again, it's football. Things are going to happen, and unfortunately, he injured his knee. I know he's going to attack the rehab process and be a pro like he is. So yeah, we'll be excited to get him back whenever that is.
And I'm sorry. The way the season ended, the way Bryce, the buzz that's around this team, does that make it, when you're identifying free agents, does it make it easier to recruit and pitch them when you have a guy like Bryce to finish in a locker room like this?
Yeah, I think it does. Definitely, players don't want to come to a team where they, first of all, don't feel like there's stability, which I feel like there is here now. We have a young head coach that brings a lot of energy. He's fun to play for. And then, obviously, Bryce, the way he's developing and growing under Coach Canales and his staff definitely helps in the free agent process and makes things exciting moving forward.
This is kind of two parts. It's both on defense, Dan, but I'll ask them one at a time. But firstly, given that you guys set a record for most points allowed, and you're a former Pro Bowl linebacker, did you take that personally?
Yeah, obviously it makes it tough, and ultimately, it lies on my shoulders to bring players in here to help EJ and his staff out, and we're going to continue to add to the defensive side of the ball. We'll be aggressive, we'll be smart, but we'll be aggressive in our process this offseason. So yeah, definitely, it's something that I think everybody on the team takes personal. EJ, his staff, myself included, Coach Canales, we all want to improve that side of the ball, and we want to continue to grow on the offensive side of the ball. So we're going to look at every avenue to make this roster better on both sides of the ball, and we're going to be aggressive, but we're going to be smart in our approach.
You mentioned, before, kind of famously, that you wanted some dogs on this team.
Yeah.
Dogs. So how far away are you? How many more dogs do you?
I'm not going to put a number on how many dogs we need to be where we got to be. But listen, we're gonna keep drafting. We're gonna keep signing players in free agency that have those qualities, that love to play the game, that are passionate about football, and are smart, tough, competitive players. So we're just going to continue with that approach and just bring players in here to help us out.
Dan, I know there's a lot that you probably have to address in free agency and the draft, but internally, all three of your specialists are free agents. Tommy Tremble, Shaq Thompson, those type of guys. I know you guys went 5-12, and you do need to add depth, but internally, who are the guys that you really think have stepped up prior to the negotiating situation that you have with the guys currently on the roster?
Yeah, I think there's some guys that have definitely stepped up. I'm not going to name names right off the bat, but we're still kind of sitting with Coach Canales, with Brandt, kind of developing a plan for free agency for our own free agents, and we just got to sit and strategize a little more and just kind of talk about the roster and digest the season and just kind of see where we're at. So there'll be a lot of discussions, to make this roster better. And again, we're going to be aggressive, but we're going to be smart in our approach.
Dan,
Would you say the focal point, given what happened on defense, that the focal point of free agency in the draft is probably going to be on defense?
I think the focal point will be to bring in really good football players. So, wherever those players are at, either side of the ball, we're going to look to add to, obviously, the defense and offensive side. So we just want to create a lot of depth and competition on this team, and, that's going to start in free agency, and then, obviously, we'll have the draft after that. So we just want to continue to add really good football players, but I'm definitely not blind in the, in the sense that we do have to improve the defense. The defense, wasn't up to standard, and, we have to address that, and we'll be aggressive in doing so.
And what about the need need for playmaking wide receiver one?
Yeah, I mean, we need playmakers all over the place, and we're going to look to add playmakers wherever it may be. So, if the best playmakers in free agency, then we're going to consider every option, and we're going to look for playmakers in the draft too. So,
But in that position specific, what would you say to add in terms of a big-time receiver?
yeah, I mean, again, every option's on the table. Whether receiver, whether a corner, offensive lineman, linebacker, D lineman, we're just going to look to add really good football players. It's not going to be specific to any position or need.
And Dave was in here talking about his growth as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he had a long ways to go from scratch. And growing with Bryce Young along the way and learning what he liked and what would help them grow together. What did you observe from your seat watching that growth from the moment he benched Bryce to the end of the season?
Yeah, it's just, to see Bryce, kind of go through the benching and be out on the practice field on the scout team. And just, he took the same approach every single day. And Dave was working with him every single day, even on the scout team, just with little details, just little things that he wanted him to work on. And hey, Bryce, to his credit, he never batted an eye. He came out every day with the same approach, with the same attitude, and I think that's what it says a lot about Bryce and who he is and why he's successful right now.
Dan, you've been in the job field for a while, but what was your biggest takeaway as your first year as an NFL GM?
I would say expect the unexpected. In my seat, there's something new that comes across your desk every single day. And I think the biggest thing being a GM is problem solving. You got to be a really good problem solver. You got to be a really good communicator with your staff and just always available and always have your door open for anybody to come in and, any problems or issues or suggestions they have. I always have an open door policy, but yeah, I would say definitely first year GM, expect the unexpected, expect the early text in the morning, of a text that you weren't really expecting, or even a late night text. So yeah, it's definitely a problem solving position.
You mentioned defensive focal pieces. JC is one of those. Where does he stand as far as for you giving him a long-term deal as a priority?
Yeah, I think I said that to you guys last time I talked to you guys, that JC is obviously the focal point of the defense, somebody that we're going to want here long-term, and we're going to work on getting him a long-term deal.
Dan, both you and Dave came into your prospective first-year roles. A lot of instability, a lot of national media directed towards David Tepper's involvement. Can you just talk about the confidence that he's had in the two of you and how he's kind of taken a back seat and let you guys handle the football operations?
Dave's been great to work with. Dave and Dave have been both great to work with. Mr. Tepper and Nicole, their support and their trust in Dave and myself has been great. They support us in everything that we do. They're great leaders in the building. They're great to work alongside every single day. So I just can't thank them enough for their trust in us. And, we're looking forward to bringing them a winning team. And that's what they hired us for. So we're going to put that work in and then try to get there.
Yeah,
What would
Dan,
be the
you've been
most
around.
efficient way to make the improvement on defense that you made on offense this year?
Say that one more time.
What would be the most efficient, quickest way to make the kind of improvement on defense that you made on offense?
I'm not really into like quick fixes. Like I don't think there's such thing as like a quick fix. So obviously you want to fix things as soon as possible, but I'm just going to go into it as, hey, listen, we know where we were on the defensive side of the ball. We do have to continue to add playmakers on that side of the ball. So I just think we have to look at every avenue and explore every avenue to find those playmakers. And hey, if we find somebody and we like somebody, whether trade, whether draft, whether free agency, we're going to explore every path.
Dan, you've been around Iggy since he got here. You've got a big decision coming up his contract. How do you feel he performs this year compared to the previous 2 years? And where are you guys at from the standpoint of you've spent a lot of money on this offensive line? How does it factor in?
Yeah, I think Icky fits right in there. We think a lot of Icky. I think he's got better every single year. I think he made strides this season. I think Joe Gilbert and his staff have done a really good job with the O-line in general. So, yeah, I see Icky as a piece that we want around here for a long time.
Dan, you've been in this building when the culture's been at its best. What did you see this year that you said is turning in the right direction? What do you see?
Yeah, I think, you can really see the players' attitudes. They're still learning how to win. We do have a lot of young guys in that locker room, and it takes time to learn how to win and learn how to finish, like Coach Canales says. So, I think from the culture standpoint, I think you could tell the guys are starting to really buy into what Coach Canales is preaching, and they're starting to figure out what it feels like to win. And I think once you get that feeling, you really don't want to lose it. So, I think guys are like, hey, like we may have something here. Let's buy into this. Let's put the work in. And, I think everybody is in that mindset right now moving forward.
You were part of the team that drafted Bryce Young. What was going through your mind as you watched him in that performance that he put on yesterday? Was that what you envisioned all along?
Yeah, I think so. I think we all saw Bryce in college. I mean, he won the Heisman Trophy for a reason. He's an electric player. He's somebody that can extend plays. He can hurt you with his legs. He can hurt you with his arm. And that's the same Bryce that we saw at Alabama. And I'm just so proud of him, for putting the work in, taking the coaching, and being a resilient player that he is. So I think everybody saw on display what Bryce is capable of, not just yesterday, but in previous games too. I think he's just scratching the surface, and I know that he's going to put the work in to get better and better. And I'm just really excited about his future, and I'm excited for him.
After those first 2 games, though, was there a level of concern? I mean, because here he is, your number 1 pick, and that doesn't happen too often where number 1 pick gets benched. I mean, was there a level of concern that can he do it? Because, just getting a franchise quarterback is not easy.
Yeah, I always had the belief that Bryce, was gonna reach his potential. How that happened or when that came, I wasn't sure, but I knew it was in there. And I think when he was benched, I thought that was an opportunity for him to kind of sit back and just kind of take a deep breath. And after a long previous season and first tough couple games, I think it was a really good thing for him in the long run. And hey, to his credit, he's come out and he's really turned the page on that, and we all feel really good about him being our quarterback of the future.
Was there a plan to come back to him had Dalton not gotten that far?
Yeah, there was. Obviously, I think Coach may have talked to you about that before, but yeah, there was definitely a plan, and there was no giving up on Bryce.
What was the plan? Because he didn't tell us what the plan was.
I'll let him tell you if he wants to tell you.
But to that point, Dan, I mean, you're a first-year GM. He's a first-year head coach. There are conversations of week 2 on benching the number 1 overall draft pick. I'm not asking you to talk about that decision. What I'm curious about is the level of trust that you have to have in each other to say, let's pull that trigger and let's take all the backlash and we're going to take it.
Right.
Obviously, it's easy to look at now and say, hey, that was a great decision. What did that moment do for your relationship with Dave?
I don't know if it's that moment that's, going to really like set our relationship like off, in a great direction. Dave and I just have a really good relationship in general. We're always communicating. We're always talking about different scenarios. So I think it was just, communication on our part, and ultimately Dave's decision on, pulling the trigger on that. And hey, it worked out really good, and I'm glad it did.
Dan, last year you guys, when you put this staff together and you put this front office together, you guys didn't have like a lot of runway to plan and do everything. I'm just curious, what does Brant and even the analytics and the coaching staff brought to your planning for this offseason that maybe enhanced what you can do this year as opposed to last year when it was kind of makeshift from the jump?
First of all, like having Brant around is awesome. Like Brant's great, just to kind of bounce things off every day. He's obviously really good at his job, really good with the numbers, and just working things in free agency, negotiating contracts. Like if there's a better guy out there, I don't know who it is. So I'm really lucky to have Brant. Just kind of working side by side with him every day. And then from an analytics standpoint, we bought Eric Eager in and his team. So obviously they bring a lot. It's really like with the analytics, it's like a checks and balances really of what it is. So I can, if I really like a player in free agency or the draft, I can always bounce things off of them and they give me feedback. If it's not matching up with what I'm seeing, if the numbers don't match up, then, it's just the checks and balances and part of the process of just kind of being thorough in everything that we do.
Do a couple more. Dan, back to the quarterbacks for a second. From your perspective, how important is Andy Dalton in Bryce Young's ability to come back and really ascend the last couple of years?
I'm not in those meeting rooms every day, so I really can't speak to that. But I know that Andy's a really supportive teammate. And I know that him and Bryce have a super close relationship. So, you definitely have to say that, Andy was there for him and one of his biggest fans. And I'm sure he'd tell you that he's super proud of him, too.
Would it be considering what you just said, would it be a priority to try to get him back? He is a free agent.
Yeah, it's something, that we're going to talk about upstairs along with the other free agents we have. We just got done the season the other day, so we'll sit down and we'll just kind of talk about the free agents, who we're going to sign, re-sign, who we're not going to re-sign. But, there'll be a plan in place. And, if he's part of that equation, then we'll re-sign him.
Last year we asked you about the draft.
Last one.
Last year we asked about
Joe
the
and
draft.
David. After you, Joe and David, and then we'll wrap it up.
Last year going into the draft, we asked you what the approach was without having a first round pick at all. This year having a top 10, it looks like. What's the approach going into this year's draft?
Again, just, we have a process. We're going to be really thorough in that process. I think, again, just going back to previous conversations, we just have to draft really good players and playmakers, guys that are difference makers, especially in the top 10. So whoever that guy is, we're going to feel like is going to be a difference maker for us. And, we'll be excited about that.
Dave directed us to ask somebody else this question, so any end of season surgeries you're aware of?
No, I don't really have anything for you right now. I know that we're going to be meeting with the medical staff here, actually today. So we'll be talking about some of the season enders, guys that maybe had some injuries yesterday, and then guys that are going to have surgeries potentially this off season. So I'll have more for you next time I'm up here.
David, and when you hired Dave a year ago, you didn't know what he would be as a head coach. You had your hopes of what he would be.
Right.
What have you seen from what you thought you knew back then during this season that's made you believe he was the right choice?
I think he's everything I thought he was going to be. Young, energetic, players coach that's, really good with quarterbacks. And I think he's really shown that. And I think the guys really respond to him and they love playing for him. He brings that energy. out at practice every day in the meeting rooms. He's just fun to be under. He's fun to work under. But again, he just brings that energy every day that as a player, that's what you look for. You don't want to really be playing under somebody boring and monotone. Dave always has a smile on his face and is ready to roll. So I'm excited about his future, and he's going to continue to evolve as a head coach and as a play caller. So I think I'm really excited about it.
You could have lost the locker room with that 0-2 benching your quarterback. Any one moment there that you saw that really jumped out at you?
No, not really. I just think it's his positive attitude on a day-to-day basis, and he's just always optimistic about the day, always optimistic about the future, and that's truly how he feels. He's genuine. He is who he is, and that's what I love about him.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Yep.
Enjoy your off season.